beautiful souls, and welcome back to another episode of Energize Your Passion, the podcast that fills your cup with positive energy and real, relatable conversations. I'm your host, Sunshine, and today we're diving into a topic that's as exciting as it is controversial: workplace romances. Ooh, wee! I can tell you some stories about workplaces romances, but over here, we mind our own business, so that is not my story to tell. But before we end this episode, I will tell you a little bit about a workplace romance that did involve me. So let's get back on track. Love can spark anywhere. And sometimes it happens right between meetings and deadlines. Maybe those long hours working side by side. Or perhaps it's the undeniable chemistry brewing over coffee breaks. But is it a great idea? Or is it setting yourself up for professional or personal challenges? That's exactly what we're getting into today. We'll explore both sides of the story: the sweet, spicy, and downright messy. And of course, I've got some juicy real life listener stories to bring this topic to life. So whether you're contemplating an office romance or just curious about how others have navigated it, stick with me because this episode is about to get interesting. So grab your favorite beverage and get cozy. Segment 1: The Case for Workplace Romances. Why they work. Let's kick things off by talking about why office romances can actually be a good thing. There's a reason so many people find love at work. It makes sense. You're spending so much time together, sharing goals, collaborating on projects, and supporting each other through challenges. That kind of connection naturally fosters attraction and deep bonds. One major advantage is the compatibility factor. When you date someone from work, you already understand their schedule, their stressors, and even their ambitions. That shared experience can build a strong foundation for a relationship. Plus, studies have shown that people are more likely to form relationships with those they interact with regularly. Another great aspect of workplace relationships is the built-in support system. Work can be stressful, and having a romantic partner who truly understands the pressures of your job can be a huge advantage. They get what it's like when deadlines pile up. They understand the dynamics of your office culture, and they can celebrate your work achievements in a way that feels truly meaningful. It's like having your biggest cheerleader and confidant right by your side every step of the way. Additionally, when you meet someone in a professional setting, you're getting to know them in a space where their problem-solving skills, work ethics, and communication abilities are on full display. You're able to see how they handle challenges, work under pressure, and collaborate with others. All qualities that can provide deep insight into how they might behave in a personal relationship. Another factor that contributes to the success of office romances is the shared ambition. Many people who date within their workplace find that they draw to each other because of similar career goals or professional passions. When two people are on the same page about their long-term aspirations, it can create a powerful bond. Instead of feeling like you have to balance your career against your relationship, a workplace romance can actually reinforce both. Of course, there is also the natural chemistry that develops when people spend significant time together. Think about how many times have you developed close friendships with coworkers just because you've been through so much together. Now, add attraction into the mix, and you've got a natural recipe for romance. Meet Rachel and Tom, both marketing professionals who found love during late night brainstorming sessions. They started as co-workers, then became best friends, and eventually romance blossomed. Fast forward 5 years, they're now happily married, and their understanding of each other's work world makes their relationship even stronger. Then we have Chris and Emily. They bonded over their shared passion for tech startups. Their relationship pushed them to grow not only as a couple, but as professionals. Today, they run a thriving business together, proving that love and work can sometimes be the perfect combination. But let's not forget another major advantage of workplace romances. They can lead to fulfilling personal and professional growth. Couples who work together often push each other to reach new heights, encouraging one another to take on new challenges, develop fresh ideas, and even explore career opportunities that might have seemed out of reach before. Lastly, workplace romances can sometimes evolve into lifelong partnerships. There are countless stories of couples who met on the job, went on to build not only incredible relationships, but also strong, supportive families. When the foundation is built on mutual respect and shared experiences, the relationship has a higher chance of long-time success. But of course, not all office romances have fairy tale endings. Which brings us to our next segment. Segment 2, the risk and challenges of workplace romances. As great as they can be, workplace romances come with their fair share of risk. The biggest concern, if things go south, you're stuck seeing your ex every single day. Awkward, right? There's also the question of favoritism. If one partner is in a position of power, it can lead to uncomfortable power dynamics and accusations of unfair treatment. And let's not forget about office gossip. It can be brutal. One minute you're in love, and the next, your entire department is whispering about your relationship drama. Another potential challenge is managing professional boundaries. It can be tough to separate personal emotions from work responsibilities, and that's where things can get tricky. A disagreement at home can easily spill over into the workplace, affecting team dynamics and overall productivity. Employees may also feel like they have to take sides if tension rises between the couple, creating division in the workplace. In addition, some companies have strict policies against workplace romances, especially if one person is in a managerial position. If you're caught breaking those policies, it could mean disciplinary action, reassignment, or even losing your job. Even if your company is more relaxed about office relationships, there's always the risk that leadership might view your romance as a distraction or a liability. Another overlooked factor, career growth. If you're dating someone at work, how does it affect your professional trajectory? Some people may feel hesitant to apply for promotion or new roles within the company if it could cause tension in their relationship. Others may feel that their hard work is being dismissed because coworkers assume any career advancements are due to favoritism rather than merit. And then, of course, there's the emotional toll. Breakups are hard enough as it is, but having to see and work with an ex every day can be exhausting. Even if both individuals handle the situation maturely, lingering emotions can create unnecessary stress and affect workplace morale. It's easy for resentment, jealousy, or unresolved feelings to fester, leading to an uncomfortable work environment, not just for the couple, but for everyone around them. Samantha thought dating her colleague Mark was a great idea until their breakup turned into an office wide spectacle. Suddenly, meetings were tense and their once friendly team environment became strained. Eventually, she had to leave her job just to escape the discomfort. Then there's James, who found himself caught in a love triangle at work. It started as innocent flirting, but when things got complicated, it affected his performance, his friendships, and even his reputation at the company. Not exactly the dream scenario. So, if workplace romances can be both wonderful and risky, how do you navigate them responsibly? Let's talk about that next. Segment 3, setting boundaries and making it work. If you're already in a workplace romance or considering one, there are ways to make it work without sacrificing your career or personal happiness. First, communication is key. Be upfront with each other about expectations, how to handle challenges, and what happens if the relationship doesn't work. Setting boundaries, like keeping PDA out of the office or agreeing to separate work and personal matters, can also help maintain professionalism. Another important aspect of making a workplace romance work is having a plan. What happens if one of you gets promoted? What if one of you decide to leave the company? Having these conversations early on can prevent unnecessary stress down the road. The key is to ensure that both individuals are on the same page and can adapt if circumstances change. It's also essential to be aware of company policies. Some organizations have strict guidelines about office relationships, so understanding the rules can help you avoid conflicts. Being open with HR, if necessary, can also be beneficial to protect both your personal and professional interests. Maintaining balance is crucial. When couples spend all day together at work and then go home together, it can sometimes feel like there's no break. Finding ways to maintain independence, such as having separate friend groups, hobbies, and even just occasional solo time, can help keep the relationship fresh and prevent burnout. Another strategy is to keep work disagreements at work and personal disagreements at home. Mixing the two can create unnecessary tension, so setting clear boundaries about when and where certain discussions should take place can make a big difference. Lisa and Brian made a workplace relationship work by keeping their romance private until they knew it was serious. When they finally shared it with their colleagues, they had already built a solid foundation, minimizing drama. Daniel and Maya, on the other hand, set clear boundaries from the start. They made sure to treat each other like any other coworker during work hours, and that respect helped their relationship last both in and out the office. In addition to setting clear boundaries, couples should also ensure they don't let their relationship affect their performances. It's easy to get distracted or let emotions seep into work tasks, but maintaining professionalism should always be a priority. Treating each other like any other colleague in the office can help establish credibility and prevent any unnecessary scrutiny. One thing to consider is that if the relationship progresses to a more serious level, such as engagement or marriage, discussing long-term career plans is essential. Would one person be willing to transfer to a different department or company if needed? Thinking through these scenarios can help both partners feel more secure in their professional and personal lives. Lastly, having a support system outside of work can be beneficial. Friends, mentors, or family members who are removed from the workplace can provide valuable insight and advice. Sometimes, an outside perspective can help couples navigate challenges more effectively. Now, what if you find yourself falling for someone at work, but you're unsure if you should take the leap? That's what we'll get into next. But before we do, let me spill the beans on what happened to me. We had a tall, handsome, young guy working at the office, and for some reason, he had a crush on me. I promise you, for 6 months or so, I ignored him. Let's say this part together. One day, I finally gave in and accepted a date with this guy. To be honest, the chemistry was off the meter. We became inseparable from that day on. However, the relationship did not last. It wasn't because of working together, because a few months later, he accepted a position with another company. So it was no longer a workplace relationship. The relationship didn't work out, but up to today, almost 30 years later, me and this guy are still friends. Not romantic, but we are still friends. If he had it his way, we would still be romantic friends, or better yet, married to each other. But yeah, that office romance did happen. And I ended up with an amazing friend for life. Segment 4. Should you or shouldn't you? Making the decision. Deciding whether to pursue a workplace romance is no small thing. Here are some questions to consider. 1. Is it worth the potential risk? 2. How would it affect your work and career growth? 3. Are you prepared for the consequences if things don't work out? Taking the time to assess these questions before jumping in can save you from heartache and career heartaches down the road. It's also important to gauge the seriousness of your feelings. Is this just a fleeting attraction, or is there real potential for something long-term? Being honest with yourself about your intentions and expectations can help you make a more informed decision. Another factor to consider is workplace culture. Some companies have an open and accepting attitude towards office relationships, while others strongly discourage them. Understanding the environment you're in and how leadership may react is key. You don't want to find yourself in a situation where your relationship is seen as a liability or cause for concern. It's also helpful to think about the long-term impact on your professional growth. Could dating a colleague affect your chances of getting promoted? Would it create complications if one of you were to switch departments or take on a leadership role? These are real possibilities that should be factored into your decision-making process. Another tip: test the water before diving in. Spend time together to know the person outside of work settings before committing to anything serious. This can give you a better sense of compatibility without risking workplace awkwardness too soon. Maggie chose to walk away from an office romance because she valued her career more than the potential relationship. Looking back, She knows it was the right choice. On the flip side, Jake took the chance and it worked out beautifully. He and his now wife met at work and they've been happily married for years. If you decide to pursue a workplace romance, be mindful of the impact it may have on others. Keeping things professional and avoiding behaviors that make colleagues uncomfortable is crucial. The last thing you want is for your relationship to become a source of gossip or tension in the office. At the end of the day, there's no one-size-fits-all answer. Some workplace romances lead to lasting happiness, while others end in regret. It all comes down to careful consideration, open communication, and a willingness to adapt if necessary. So what's the final verdict? Let's wrap it all up. Segment 5, Key Takeaways and Final Thoughts. We've covered a lot today. Workplace romances are a topic that stirs a lot of emotions, opinions, and real-life experiences. Whether you're for or against them, one thing is certain. They require a level of maturity and awareness that extends beyond just personal feelings. Navigating a relationship while maintaining your professional credibility isn't always easy. It requires constant self-awareness, communication, and the ability to separate emotions from business decisions. Those who make it work successfully understand the importance of setting clear expectations and respecting both the relationship and the workplace environment. Another crucial aspect is understanding that every office dynamic is different. What might work seamlessly in one company could be a complete disaster in another. Culture, policies, and leadership styles all play a role in determining whether a workplace romance can thrive without creating complications. Observing and understanding your work environment before making a move can help avoid unnecessary challenges. We've also discussed how being mindful of coworkers is just as important as focusing on the relationship itself. A workplace romance doesn't exist in a vacuum. It impacts colleagues, team dynamics, and sometimes even business decisions. Being considerate of those around you can make all the difference in how your relationship is perceived and whether it ultimately succeeds. At the end of the day, love is unpredictable, and work is just one of the many places it can find you. Some of the best relationships have started in the least expected ways. If you find love at work, approach it thoughtfully, handle it with care, and make sure it enhances rather than hinder your professional and personal growth. Key takeaways. 1. Workplace romances can be rewarding, but they also come with challenges. 2. Communication, boundaries, and professionalism are essential. 3. If things go south, it can impact your work life in a big way. And 4. Ultimately, the decision to pursue a workplace romance is personal, so weigh the pros and cons carefully. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to give Energize Your Passion a 5-star rating. Share it with your friends, and let's keep this conversation going. If you have a workplace romance story of your own, drop me a message. I'd love to hear it. Until next time, stay positive and keep your passion alive. This is Sunshine, signing off.